guys, what's going on? It's MassiveJoes Raw Review, and I'm coming to you from MassiveJoes.com. Awesome Raw review for the viewers at home today on what is quickly becoming one of our most popular pure whey protein isolate powders from our good friends at Phorm. It is, of course, Phormula-1 in the house. Let's get straight into it, show you guys exactly what's in it, tell you exactly what it's going to do. The nutritional information panel on the tub in front of me is a little bit too small and it ain't going to get it done. We're about to go balls deep in this here first Phorm Phormula-1. Luckily, got ourselves a big ass nutritional information panel appearing on screen at the moment so you guys can play along. I will point out that this is the nutritional panel for the CTC flavor, which is inspired by Cinnamon Toast Crunch, hence CTC. That's the tub in front of me right here. So we're gonna use that because the macros and the serving sizes do slightly vary from flavor to flavor, but we're gonna focus on the CTC. So, serving size 1 scoop, 27 grams in the CTC. Some of the flavors it does boost up to 28 grams. So 27 to 28 grams per scoop, depending on flavor. Every single flavor has 32 full serves in each and every tub. So the entire weight of the tub does vary a little bit, but 32 serves is what you're getting in every tub, regardless of the flavor. Of course, it is a protein, so we're gonna take a deep dive into the macros before we get into where those macros come from. In terms of calories, we're looking at between 100 and 110 calories per serve, depending on the flavor. The fat ranges from 0.5, so half a gram, up to 1 full gram. The saturated fat across all flavors is half a gram. So it's 2 to 4% fat and 2% fat across all the flavors, give or take percentage points here. Carbohydrates range from 3 to 4 grams depending on the flavor, so we're at 11 to 14% carbs. All of the flavors have 1 gram of sugar, so 4% sugar, and every single flavor has the same 20 grams of protein, which ranges, depending on the serving size, between 71 and 74% protein by weight. In terms of where these macros are coming from, I mentioned that it is quickly becoming one of our most popular whey protein isolates. It is, of course, whey protein isolate as the only protein source in this Phormula-1. It actually comes from low temperature processed micro-filtered whey protein isolate. The low temperature is important because it means that all the protein fractions are kept the way that we want them during the processing, during the microfiltration process, and they're not being destroyed by adding too much heat. So low temperature micro-filtered whey protein isolate, which is the primary ingredient. We then do have some creamer powder in the Phormula-1, which is unique. Most whey protein isolates won't use a creamer powder. Sometimes they use different texturizers and whatnot. Phorm have decided to use a creamer powder across all of the, we get into flavors and taste, you guys will see there's kind of dairy-based flavors and then non-dairy or fruit-based flavors. In all of the dairy-based flavors, they've used a creamer powder, and that's to add some nice texture and some nice mouthfeel to the dairy-based flavors in this Phormula-1. We'll get into that when we talk about how it tastes, how it mixes. Of course, there's natural and artificial flavors in here. There's natural and artificial sweeteners in here. In particular, the artificial sweeteners used are sucralose and ACE-K, acesulfame potassium. And then we got some soy lecithin in there, which just helps with the mixability of the whey protein isolate. And that's it. That's what we're looking at in each and every scoop of this Phormula-1. In terms of how it tastes and how it mixes, guys, the Phormula-1 comes in 12 flavors in the US. In Australia, at the time of recording this raw review, we have 5, and we have 5 of the dairy-based flavors. So in Australia, we have chocolate milkshake, we have chocolate mint cookie, we have CTC, inspired by Cinnamon Toast Crunch. We have Loop de Fruit, which is inspired by Fruit Loops, of course. And then, of course, we have the vanilla milkshake. In addition to the 5 flavors that we currently have available in Australia, in the US, there's another 7 flavors, and these are your fruit-based flavors. So fruit punch, juicy watermelon, magical charms, root beer float, cherry lime, orange dreamsicle, and key lime pie. will those flavors ever make it to Australia? Look, there's a couple in there that I think might, maybe the Magical Charms, maybe the Orange Dreamsicle. Some of those flavors are very American flavors that for the Australian viewers at home, you guys would be like, I would never drink a protein that tastes like root beer float, I should say. And we're with you on that. So some of those more exotic, for lack of a better term, flavors probably won't make it to Australian shores, but we do have the 5 at the moment and probably a couple more in the coming months as well. Infamous MassiveJoes taste and mixability test about to go down. I have a flavor of the CTC in front of me right here that I have used to make a little bit of sludge over my bowl, and I'll show you guys that in a second. But I'm about to bust open a fresh new tub of the choc mint cookie flavor, which word on the street is it is the best flavor of Phormula-1. So I'm excited to rip this tub open, show you guys how it tastes, show you guys how it mixes first and foremost, and then show you guys, tell you guys, explain to you guys how it tastes. Oh, it smells good. The first thing that I will point out is that 1 scoop, 27 to 28 grams, depending on the flavor, is not a level scoop. It's actually, oh, this scoop don't want to come out. It's actually, let's say a generous scoop. I wouldn't say a heaped scoop. Let's say a generous scoop. So that is going to be a full serve. It's definitely not a level scoop. If you're using, let me just level this off here. If you're using a level scoop that kind of looks like that, you're going to be underdoing it a little bit and only getting about 25 to 26 grams. So be generous with your scoops. Go for a generous helping, and that's going to get you your full serve in there. I have ready to go, and I'm going to follow the directions on this tub pretty much down to a point. Add 1 scoop to 6 ounces of ice cold water. So I have in my MJ shaker over here 6 ounces of ice cold water. You guys will see first and foremost, that's not a lot of water. It's a whey protein isolate, so the texture from all whey protein isolates naturally is a very thin texture. So first Phorm, we're recommending to use a very small amount of water in here, 6 ounces, that's all we got in there. So I'm gonna take my 1 scoop, 1 generous scoop, of this Phormula-1 in the choc mint cookie flavor. Let's go and drop that in there. Man, it smells so good. Put the lid on here. Give it a little bit, a few flicks of the wrist in here. I'm gonna show you guys how it mixes. And explain to you how the choc mint cookie flavor tastes. All right, that's enough. As you guys can see in the MJ shaker there, pretty much perfectly mixed. There's no floaters, there's no sinkers, there's nothing going on in there that would indicate that it's not well mixed at all. But we're gonna put it through the ultimate test because I've got a double wall glass over here. Let's see how it pours in here. Oof. Very, very good. I'm almost tempted to say that the turbo bowl is not required, but it is a protein powder. You are going to be mixing it up in a MJ shaker, so I would go so far as to say turbo bowl is required for this first Phorm Phormula-1. Let me refresh my memory and explain to you guys how the choc mint cookie flavor tastes. Oh man. First Phorm have done such a good job with not just the flavors across the board of the Phormula-1, but the texture and the mouthfeel of this whey protein isolate with the macros they've been able to achieve is absolute world-class, top shelf, market leading, put whatever adjective phrase you want in there. It is some really, really good shit. Oh man, bravo First Phorm, round of applause. And I do have to concur, I think the choc mint cookie is the best flavor across the 5 that we have available in Australia. If I had to rank the flavors, because I do like to do this and I have tried all of them, I'd go choc mint cookie, #1 for me personally. I'd probably then go CTC strangely enough. I'm a big fan of Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal, so I might be a little biased in that regard, but I'd probably go CTC. Then chocolate and vanilla, depending on what I'm feeling like, are probably like an equal tie in third place. And then the Loop de Fruit, I'm not a big fan of fruit-based protein powders in general, so that kind of slides in fifth for me. But it is a very good Fruit Loops-inspired fruit-based protein powder, fruit dairy-based protein powder, if you're into that sort of thing. I will also say, in terms of versatility, first and foremost, it's a whey protein isolate, right? So it kind of goes without saying that it's primarily a drinking protein. You're gonna do what I just did. You're gonna throw a scoop in 6 ounces of water, or 2 scoops in 12 ounces of water if you want 40 grams of protein instead of 20. You're gonna shake it up and you're gonna drink it. But in terms of versatility, it does actually sludge quite well. And I think that's got a little bit to do with the creamer that's added in here. So I've got some sludge here that I prepared earlier. This is actually the CTC flavor, hence the color's significantly different than the chocolate mint cookie flavor. But I wanted to show you guys this because you can kind of see that it sludges pretty damn well. Not just for a whey protein isolate, but for a protein in general. Guys, you gotta remember, this is WPI. There's no whey protein concentrate, there's no casein in here. This is pure WPI, and it definitely, you can sludge it and you can eat your protein if you prefer to do that rather than drink it. I will say, it's not a great protein to cook with. It doesn't make really good protein pancakes or waffles. You can't really bake with it very well. It is primarily a drinking or a sludging protein when it comes to versatility. In terms of the effects, protein powders, you guys know, they're gonna help increase your daily protein intake. I will say that with the Phormula-1, you're getting a pure, complete, biologically available protein source with all of the protein fractions intact because of the cold processing microfiltration process with this WPI. So that's something to note. The other thing to note, which kind of ties into effects and a little bit of side effects in there as well, is there's nothing in here like digestive enzymes, like anything that seems to be appearing in a lot of whey protein isolates at the moment that has no business being in whey protein isolates. This is WPI, flavors, sweeteners, a texturizer in there in the form of the creamer across the dairy base flavors, and that's it. So it's everything you want in a whey protein isolate and nothing that you don't want. So when it comes to side effects, if you're somebody that struggles with digestive enzymes upsetting your stomach, or all sorts of other shit that we're seeing in whey protein isolates that are supposed to be pure whey protein isolates are causing you gastrointestinal issues, you're not gonna have this issue with Phormula-1. It is a very, very pure, high quality whey protein isolate. In terms of what it compares to, I'm gonna take 2 of the market leading WPIs and see how they stack up to this Phormula-1. On one hand, Dymatize ISO 100. On the other hand, probably the most popular isolates on the planet right now, Rule 1 Proteins R1 protein isolate. So, Dymatize ISO 100, first and foremost, similar price point. ISO 100 is available in bigger tubs, which does bring the price per serve down. So in those bigger tubs, it is slightly better value for money per serve, although you're forking out more for the bigger tub in the first instance. The macros are slightly better in ISO 100. ISO 100 is known for being very, very close to 0 fat and 0 carbs, and there's more protein in there as well. So you do get slightly better macros. The actual calories per serve is almost identical to Phormula-1. The versatility in ISO 100 is not as good. It doesn't sludge as well. The mouthfeel, the texture is not as nice. And I would personally argue that the flavors are not as nice as Phormula-1 either. The texture is slightly thinner when you're making a shake. And if you try and sludge it, it really doesn't sludge very well at all. It's kind of just like pouring your protein shake into a bowl and having protein soup, not protein sludge. ISO 100 doesn't have quite as many flavors as Phormula-1. I think Phormula-1 outdoes it by a couple of extra flavors in there, and in particular, those kind of fruit-based flavors are quite exclusive to Phormula-1. On the other hand, Rule 1 R1 isolate, in terms of the price, once again, slightly better value for money because of the big tubs, and then Rule 1 do big bags as well. So the price per serve is better than Phormula-1. But once again, you're forking more out for the big tub in the first instance or the big bag in the first instance as well. The macros are also slightly better. More protein, less carbs per serve, although the calories are very similar in the Raw 1 R1 protein. Versatility, not as good. Mouthfeel, not as good. Texture, not as good. That is really something that First Phorm Phormula-1 has over pretty much every other isolate protein that I've personally tried. And not quite as many flavors either as Phormula-1 has to offer. I think R1 isolates around the 10 mark, whereas we've got 12 in the Phormula-1 on the worldwide market. Who is it best for? Phormula-1 is going to be great for any of you looking for a pure whey protein isolate that's going to get you everything you want in a whey protein isolate and nothing that you don't. Obviously, it's whey protein, so it is dairy based. So if you've got a problem with dairy, if you've got a problem with lactose, probably not the protein for you. But if you don't have any lactose intolerance or any dairy intolerance and you're in the market for a very pure whey protein isolate, that honestly, guys, is going to blow your mind when it comes to the actual experience of consuming the protein, the flavors, the taste, the texture, the mouthfeel. And then in addition, if you want a protein that you can sludge as well as drink in isolate form, you really can't go past First Phorm Phormula-1. Last but not least, price and value for money. In the Australian marketplace at the moment, the 32-serve tub of Phormula-1 retailing for $99.95, which breaks it out at $3.12 per scoop. I think for a whey protein isolate of this quality, it's a fair price in the market. It's not super cheap. It's not super expensive. It's pretty much where it needs to be for a 32-serve tub of pure whey protein isolate. Guys, hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to the MassiveJoes YouTube channel. Don't forget to turn your post notifications on your mobile, your cell phone, your desktop PC, your smart TV, and whatever other device you are watching this video on so you don't miss a beat when it comes to all these new raw reviews and everything else we've got happening here on the channel. Guys, that is MassiveJoes Raw Review on First Phorm Phormula-1 Whey Protein Isolate in the house. And I'm coming to you from MassiveJoes.com. Stay massive.
Thank you for tuning into this video. We hope you enjoyed watching. Don't forget to check out our latest upload and our recommended video, and be sure to subscribe to the MassiveJoes YouTube channel to stay up to date with all of our latest uploads.